British firm that came into my district and picked up 50 rent-stabilized buildings. Over 500 units of housing, most probably, all rent regulated, for $250 million. They picked up the portfolio. They, on the record, stated, this was in a press advisory, this was in a statement that they said, that they felt that this was solid investment because the housing codes were so lax in the United States that they saw their profit down the line pretty quickly because they were going to be able to force tenants out. That's the way they saw it. So this is what's happening here, that the law is lax. We need to close the loopholes to protect the tenants. These are lives on the line. You know, we cannot lose the human element and emotion that is involved here.
I'm Jen Senko, and I'm the co-director and co-executive producer of the documentary called The Vanishing City.
I'm Fiore DeRosa, co-director and co-producer of The Vanishing City. We started to make the film, and then little by little we started uncovering things that we never expected and realized that it was a different film. Here's a guy who his father had the business for 40 years, and he found out about it when he went to the bank. He found this weekly newspaper, and they actually had a convention center. You know, this whole plan for a convention center covering his property and all the properties around him. That's how he found out. And he basically says, how is it possible that you go to a bank and you find out that they've got plans to build on your property? You own the property, nobody's even talked to you. And that's basically what's going on in this city. They've got this plan to make this city.
And so really it started out more as a nostalgia piece, but what ended up happening is we got very interested in the how and the why, and that's what we started following.
The initial thing that we found out was there was this thing called a Plan NYC that the city had implemented, which was a plan, basically a master plan to change the city. They rezoned the 149 neighborhoods up to this point. And it allowed more development, bigger development. And I was talking to actually a restaurateur in my neighborhood, and he was actually on the community board and Trinity board. And he said, well, you're making this film. Well, let me tell you something. In the next 10 years, we're going to have green glass buildings from here all the way up to the George Washington Bridge. I said, what are you talking about? And he's the guy who actually opened it up for us. And then we started asking more and more questions.
In 1975, New York faced an enormous fiscal crisis. Prior to that, a strong working class and industrial sector, in collaboration with finance and real estate, fueled the city economy. As a result of the crisis, city policy began to shift to an emphasis on business growth and real estate. Industry became seen as obsolete and unimportant. Social programs were cut, and city spending became concentrated on long-term development strategies to encourage large, white-collar business growth. Over the next 30 years, industry continued to decline, more money flooded into the city, and the emphasis on a global business model became the primary focus of the city's economy.
We give some examples of where eminent domain was being used, or the city was trying to use it. So we give examples of Columbia University, where they threatened to use it, and Willets Point, and Atlantic Yards.
It doesn't matter whether you own a piece of property or not. This plan, they're implementing it, they're pushing it through regardless. And a lot of people have been displaced because of it.
There has been an attempt to bring the actual city as it's lived and as it works as a physical space in line with this idea of an imagined city of competition, of achievement, and finally, probably most importantly, of luxury. What this has meant is a real emphasis on the building of luxury housing, rezoning areas to permit certain types of development, preclude others, and the ultimate upshot has been that the city has become much less affordable for middle-class people, to say nothing of working-class people or poor people. It's become more unequal. Its cultural character has changed as small businesses have closed. There has been a sense that some of the diversity and energy and kind of grittiness that made New York a special place has disappeared.
Well, what we found so far and what we've done so far is It's screened to numerous community groups, sort of progressive church groups, urban geography classes. We've gone to universities that have asked us to screen, and mostly it's the people that are interested in this because they're finding out information that they can't find anywhere else, and it's all put together in one place. The next step that we need to do, we feel, is to have officials see this film, officials that can actually affect change in the city.
This is a picture of 88 Leonard Street in Tribeca, just a couple of blocks from City Hall, where these policies get made. It is outside of the zone where affordability was required, and so it'll be able to receive a 421A tax break over the lifetime of that building worth more than $15 million that, that it doesn't have to pay in taxes, and that, the rest of New York's taxpayers have to make up. And it has not one affordable unit in it. And it's it's certainly a poster child of what's wrong with this program. Either this building needs to pay the taxes that help the city, survive, or it's got to include some units that regular New Yorkers can live in.
This is a worldwide problem. It's a global problem. There are major cities like it could be Tokyo, Paris, or London. This is happening, and a lot of cities across this nation. They're actually becoming these luxury cities and pushing out the middle class. And you're getting a cities of wealth and poverty, but there's nothing in between.